Back with some more troubling content. It's going to be on the controversial side. I am going to be talking about God for a split second. Hope you don't get offended. First thing I need to say is what I was talking about earlier, the collision implication, which is if any two objects crash in space, that means that somehow in all possible fields there is not enough space for both of those objects to exist. Because those objects crash, the implication means that we are losing space as a result. It means that the space between them was possible, but because the collision was chosen, we have lost space in the process. Now, the space can be represented as like a conflict, a fight, someone being stolen from, this and that, all that stuff, right? And we can isolate those events and say, look, another collision, another tangible loss of space that we cannot explain, all right? That's fine. Now, what you guys have done to compensate for this over time is instead of doing these immediate direct crashes, you've instead taken distance and still choosing the direction that causes collision, but doing so from a distance until it creates enough friction to get rid of the target. And what that means is, let's say I do something that's implosive. Like I say, I don't care about anybody else. Give me that, give me that, give me that. This is mine now. I don't care. And that's the fight, and that's what happens. I do that up front. It looks like a fight. It looks like conflict. It looks like physical exchange. Now, if I do that from a distance, the same thing is happening, but it's just happening on the non-physical scale. All that means is the same way that I can suddenly just decide to implode on everybody and say that everything they have is mine and I don't care, fuck everyone, I don't give a fuck, I don't care, all that stuff, doing that from a distance still has the same implosive reaction to all forms of space, including the space that we communicate and socialize on. Therefore, even doing it from a distance, even if there's no physical representation of it, is still creating that loss of possible tangible space over time. I need you to recognize that. That's important. Now, the thing I was going to say about God, very quick. Now, everyone agrees, whether you believe in God or not, the concept, it doesn't matter, that God is all-powerful. They can do whatever they want. They have a plan. They have all-knowing ability, and therefore, each of us, as we are separated from each other, are brought together by a centerpiece that is considered to be God, which means that we all have our own separation. Therefore, we all have our own separate relationship with God, which means that if somebody says, hey, stop having your relationship with God, have my relationship with God, do what I'm doing with God, you think God has a plan. If you remove someone else's separated relationship with God and try to replace it with your own, you are disrupting God's plan, because God has separated everyone for a reason. God has created separate identities, separate individualization. Telling everyone to have your relationship with God is preventing God's plan. I don't know who this Chris guy is, and I am being a little offensive here on purpose. I don't know who this Chris guy is, but his relationship is not needed to be had with God by everyone. Whatever he needed to learn, whatever they needed to know was for them. Everyone else has their own thing they need to learn from God, their own relationship, their own lesson, their own story. Everyone else has their own. So, taking it upon yourself to claim that everyone needs to see God from your relative separated point of view is disrupting God's plan. That's all I'm going to say there.